In today's episode, we're going to be learning some expressions with David Attenborough of the BBC. This is great if you prefer a British accent or that's what you're used to hearing. And David Attenborough speaks very clearly. So let's get into it.
You might think that this orangutan is washing socks as some kind of circus trick for which she's been specially trained, but not so. She is doing this entirely on her own initiative. She's seen others doing it and she's copying.
You might think this means you might come to a certain conclusion about something. You might think, or you might think that, and then you present the conclusion. It's another way to say it may seem like, it may look like, it's a little more formal. And the example in the show, you might think that this orangutan is washing socks as some kind of circus trick, but not so. Notice the contrast. You might think, but not so.
You might think that this orangutan is washing socks as some kind of circus trick for which she's been specially trained, but not so. And that ability to imitate, as well as to use tools, is something which started among monkeys, but has been brought to a much greater level among the apes. And those two talents were ultimately to lead to the transformation of the world.
Food for thought. It's an idiom, and it's kind of symbolism or metaphor. And you use it to describe something that provokes thought, right? That's thought-provoking. It makes you think. And something that makes you think, it's a great title for a BBC Nature documentary. So they used it as the title. Food for thought. Food for thought. Something that makes you think.
This old lady loves DIY. So does her son, who was born in the wild.
DIY. This is an abbreviation, and it just means do it yourself. When you do DIY things, it means that you create homemade solutions for things instead of buying the solutions or buying a device, right? Making homemade solutions. You can search DIY on Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and it'll give you a whole bunch of creative ideas. DIY, do it yourself. The example, along with the title, he says, this old lady loves DIY. Let's take a look.
This old lady loves DIY. So does her son, who was born in the wild. We are both, of course, great apes. But look how human her hand is. The skill with which she picks things up. The way that she can grasp a tool like that. The way she uses her brain to imitate what she's seen others doing.
Look how the way verb, and we just use this as kind of a fluency builder, but it's a way to create longer sentences. And it's to draw someone's attention to something. In the video, he drew attention to the way that these orangutans were using their hands and using their skill. He says, look how human her hand is. The skill with which she picks up things up. The way that she can grasp a tool like that. The way she uses her brain to imitate what she's seen others doing. Right? So look at, and then the big general idea. And then the details. The verb, the skill, the verb, the way, the verb, the way. That's kind of how it's used, right? Look how the general idea, and then the way the details happen.
But look how human her hand is. The skill with which she picks things up. The way that she can grasp a tool like that. The way she uses her brain to imitate what she's seen others doing.
So these were some expressions from a fun series, the BBC series. BBC Earth is a wonderful documentary, a nature documentary. I'll post a link to this original video in the description box. Leave a comment below with an example of one of these expressions, and what have you done that's DIY? Tell me below. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video or do a live session so you can participate. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.